Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're jumping right into an incredible explainer of a 2011 text by Zhu Feng. It outlines a really fascinating and surprisingly accessible roadmap to spiritual ascension. If you've ever felt like spiritual growth just has to be this exhausting grind filled with intense practices, total isolation, or endless self-denial, well, the framework we're unpacking today absolutely flips that on its head. Instead, it proposes a genuinely joyful, easy-to-follow path to achieving what it calls celestial being status. So, let's just get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. How far are you from becoming a celestial being? Now, the author doesn't throw this out there as some impossible, mystical riddle. Actually, we're going to see that this is a super practical, deeply personal self-assessment. The text basically invites us to just pause, look back at our lives, and measure our progress against a very specific set of criteria. But, before we map out those immediate next steps, we kind of need to know where we're actually going, right? According to this framework, the ultimate, absolute peak destination for anyone on this path is the Celestial Islands continent. Just think of it as the ultimate spiritual finish line. But here's the brilliant part. The text doesn't just leave us stargazing. It brings this massive cosmic goal all the way back down to Earth, rooting it right in our daily habits and everyday mental states.
To get us there, the author lays out a really clear hierarchy of existence with 5 distinct types of celestial beings. Right down at the very bottom, we've got ghost celestial beings, which the text playfully, but definitely firmly, tells us to avoid. Yeah, we absolutely do not want to be those. Then, way up at the top, we have deity celestial beings and super celestial beings. But realistically, the author notes we've got quite a way to go before we hit those levels. So where exactly does that leave us? It leaves us zeroing in on the most immediate, totally reachable tier, the human celestial being.
Section 1. The human celestial being. The 8 required states for ascension. What I really love about this part of the explainer is that it doesn't present this as rigid religious dogma. Instead, it's all about profound, yet totally achievable states of mind. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it acts as your own personal diagnostic checklist. Just take a quick second to scan through these 8 states. These are the absolute prerequisites for hitting that human celestial status. Notice how it's got nothing to do with what you own or some secret mystical arts you've mastered. It is 100% about how you perceive and interact with reality. Let's actually break down a few of the most vital ones so we can see what this mindset literally looks like in practice.
The whole foundation of this transformation really rests on the first 2 states, severing worldly ties and clearing your mind. Now, that doesn't mean you have to run off and live in a cave somewhere. It's way more about internal detachment. It's about finding an inner headspace that's so incredibly tranquil and clear that those chaotic, swirling, everyday thoughts just can't hijack your attention anymore. You basically become this calm observer of the world, completely untethered from all the drama.
Building right on top of that piece, we hit state 4, which is just beautifully articulated in the source text. I want you to imagine walking through your normal, everyday routine and feeling like you have literally fallen into an ocean of love. Ask yourself right now, do you feel that level of profound gratitude and excitement in your daily life? Because the text argues that a true human celestial being operates from this baseline of overwhelming appreciation, rather than, constantly coming from a place of lack or frustration.
And because you're operating from that solid place of peace and love, the way you behave in the real world totally shifts. States 6 and 7 highlight the sheer playfulness of this philosophy. When you drop those heavy attachments to specific outcomes, life instantly stops feeling like this grueling burden. Instead, you just go with the flow. You adapt effortlessly to your environment, and you actually start treating life itself like a highly entertaining game. You're fully engaged, you're playing hard, but you aren't absolutely devastated if the dice don't roll your way.
Which brings us to the crucial payoff, summarized here in State 8. This is the ultimate liberation, guys. A human celestial being is just no longer bogged down by the heavy existential fears that usually plague us. Things like life, death, honor, or societal disgrace. They've found this deep, unshakable contentment just in walking the path. You're simply enjoying the ride, taking it step by step, completely free from the fear of what society thinks or ultimately your own mortality.
But looking at those 8 states, it's pretty natural to ask yourself, is this path complex? Is it super difficult? Does it require decades of intense, painful struggle to unlock this level of mental clarity and joyful detachment? Well, the author addresses this head-on, asking us to stop and really reflect on the route we've just been shown.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive paradigm shift proposed in the text. Think about the past.
Historically, spiritual seekers focused heavily on endlessly acquiring knowledge, debating dry theories, or practicing super complex mystical arts. The author boldly claims that not only did these people fail to become celestial beings, but they actually kind of wasted their lives. In stark contrast, this guide's path is defined by being remarkably simple and easy. By just taking it day by day, you make natural step-by-step progress, and most importantly, your whole journey is accompanied by continuous joy and happiness. It shouldn't be painful. It should feel really, really good.
Section 2. The Physical Upgrade, Reaching Land Celestial Status. So once you've successfully mastered your internal mental world, we move right along to the outward, physical manifestation.
Basically, a land celestial being is like an upgraded human celestial being. It means you've kept up those 8 mental states of peace, joy, and detachment, and as a direct result, or at least right alongside it, you now enjoy incredibly robust health, a super vibrant spirit, and the undeniable vitality of youth. Your physical body literally begins to mirror that tranquil, joyful state of your mind.
So this creates a very clear, guaranteed trajectory for anyone practicing this. Step 1, you master the mind and attain human celestial status. Step 2, that inner peace naturally manifests outwardly, granting you land celestial status and upgrading your physical body. And according to the text, once you've nailed both of these steps, you will absolutely, without a doubt, reach the 1,000-year world. The whole progression is presented as completely natural, logical, and totally inevitable, as long as you just stick to the guide.
But hang on, remember that cosmic hierarchy we looked at right at the very beginning? We've conquered the human and land tiers, but that leaves a pretty glaring question hanging in the air. The text addresses the reader directly with this exact provocative thought. So when will you become a deity or a super celestial being?
Well, the author's answer is an absolute masterclass in mystery. Continue to follow the guide, and in due time you will be told. The message is crystal clear. The ultimate celestial secrets are only going to reveal themselves when you are truly ready. So the real question isn't when will you become a super celestial being. The question is, are you ready to take that first joyful step today?